This is a fan project. All material used are properties of their respective owners. I claim no ownership. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you and enjoy the video.
Hi everyone, Rasmus here. So, it's that time of the year again. Gozyuger will be ending soon. So, a new Sentai is upon us. And they just did a press conference. So this will be my thoughts, probably my reactions regarding the newest upcoming Sentai. Number one Sentai, Gozyuger. Yeah, number one. So, number one Sentai, Gozyuger. Yeah, I might just go, yeah. Number one is the 50th Sentai. Well, technically it's the 49th. It's the 50th series, 50th Sentai team in the Supersentai franchise, and the 49th series of the franchise. The reasoning for that confusion is Toei decided to be, well, Toei. They essentially changed the numbering. There's a post on Twitter or on X somewhere. I'll try to put it here. They changed the numbering so that Gozyuger fits with the 50th anniversary. I mean, this year's the 50th, so they're essentially forcing it to be the 50th Sentai. Essentially. The thing is, they changed the numbering with one simple thing, but it just throws everything personally out of whack. To me, personally, it just throws things out of whack. They changed the numbering for them, so now Lupin Ranger, and Pat Ranger are split into different numberings. So Lupat was, say, I forgot, like Lupat was what, 43 or 44? And like there's their coins, like their Sentai coins, like Zenkaiger's Sentai coins, they have the same number, like the same 43 or 44 numbering. Now, Toei decides that they are going to have different numbering. So 44 and 43, 43 and 44, or 44 and 45. But no. 45 is Zenkaiger. Like 40. So basically, they're not the same number. They're considered separate now. The thing is, by essentially making Gozyuger the 50th, they make the whole thing about Zenkaiger kind of moot. Because the whole thing of Zenkaiger, it's another, okay, yeah, Gozyuger is another anniversary series. Like Zenkaiger, like a bit of Dawn Brothers, like a bit. Bit of Dawn Brothers, like Gokaiger. It's an anniversary series. The thing is, Zenkaiger's everything is about the 45th anniversary. Like Zenkaiger, the main guy, the leader, Zenkaiger, has a 45 on his forehead, which shows that the Zenkaiger are the 45th team. Like even on his coin it says 45. But now, because of the new numbering, it's now kind of fucked up and worthless now. Because essentially Zenkaiger is now the 46th. The 46th team. And Zenkaiger is the 46th main ranger. Okay, yeah. So that's gonna get annoying. Personally, that annoys me. Point is, I will always refer this to the 49th. Like both in series and in team. Not the 50th. Regardless of what Toei says. But enough of my tangent. Well, maybe a bit of a rant. Let's get on with the press con, shall we? Let's start with the head writer. This is going to be interesting. They revealed the head writer. And there's rumors, but it turns out that some of the rumors turn out to be true. But starting with the head writer, Akiko Inoue. the daughter of the well-known Toshiki Inoue, will be the main writer for the show. This will be her first credit as a main writer in a Tokusatsu show. I think her first main writer credit ever. I think, yeah. Do check that out. But I think it is her first credit as a head writer or main writer. She's worked on Toku before, like a few Toku. Recently, she wrote like a few couple episodes, like quite a few episodes for Gozyuger. And she wrote, if I remember correctly, the Decade novel, the Decade novel as well, I think. Other than that, it's a bit of it's still kind of a Sentai, but it's animated. She also did like a few episodes for Precure, which I heard was actually quite good, and a few episodes for like Scarlet Nexus, the anime for Scarlet Nexus. A few episodes for the Duel Masters anime. I don't know which one. And she also wrote a couple episodes for One Piece. But this number one Sentai, Gozyuger, will be her first Sentai and her first credit as the head writer. Personally, I am giving her a chance to prove herself. Like, I'm giving her every benefit of doubt. Let her do her work. There's a bit of concern. Like, let's face it. Her first stint in Toku was first major stint was in Gozyuger, which was unfortunate. But the thing is, I don't want to put the blame on her completely. It's not totally her fault. She came in quite late. I think if I check, let me check the notes. Her first writing credit in Gozyuger was Majade's TV debut. And by that point, I'd like to think by that point, she worked with what she could. So I can't put that much blame on her, honestly. I will say though, if the apple does not fall far from the tree, we are in for some peak Sentai. What I mean by that is, her dad, Toshiki Inoue, wrote a lot. A lot of Toku. Her grandfather even wrote a lot of Toku. Writing is in the family, I think. But the problem is, with Toshiki Inoue, with her dad, every time he mainlines, he's a main writer in a Kamen Rider show. If he's the main writer, the story is lacking. Yeah, he has problems with Kamen Rider. If he's the main head guy, this head writer of the show, there's going to be some problems in the story. So far, to varying degrees, Agito was okay, but there are some times where it just jumps, and then Fives was Fives, and then Kiba was The last half of Hibiki was leaps and bounds totally different from the first half. So, and yeah, there's some issues with that. But there's a huge but in this. whenever he mainlines, whenever he becomes the head writer of a Sentai series, it's always peak. Like Jetman. Jetman was amazing. Jetman was amazing. Like, dude, that's one of the gold standards of Sentai. Dawn Brothers was chaos in the best way possible. It's the most random chaos show ever, and it's the best. And it's peak. Again, so yeah, if she's anything like her dad regarding Sentai, we're in for some hella good time. What they have presented so far during the press conference, I will say, I am very interested. Very interested. The trailer didn't specifically explain the plot. Like, they didn't say anything specific. But this is what I'm getting at. So, bear with me. There is this thing called a ring contract, where when someone or a group of people or an individual collects all of them, what I can assume is that is the main collectible of the show, like the Sentai rings, they can be granted a wish. So kinda of a DGP, Desire Grand Prix, collect the items instead of like Battle Royale. Get your wish granted. I can vibe with that. But in order to collect them rings, they have to fight the main villain faction of the show called I'm just gonna say the Bridens or the Bridals, the Super Sentai, i.e. the rest of the Sentai, previous Sentai, and what they're saying is super robots, which I can assume is the other Sentai mechs. And yes, what I'm getting from this is a battle royale similar to kind of like Geats, but they're fighting to collect Sentai rings, to collect them and grant a wish. That's what I'm getting at. So the Gozyugers are fighting the Bridens. The previous 49th, okay, I'm just gonna say previous 49 teams or 48 series and their mechs. The trailer also does raise a few questions for me though. Like in this, and there are shots, like clear shots, that the previous Rangers, like I saw like what, either, let me see, Kuwagata Ogre, like Gira, and Don Momotaro, and Don Momotaro, using the same weapon as the Gozyuger, like they're called the Tega sword, the Tega's TEGA sword, but they're in silver, not gold. They're also using the same belts as the Gozyugers, which raises the question, they might not be our team that we know. It might not be Gira, or it might not be Momoitaro. It might be like, there's one episode in like Dawn Brothers or like Gokaiger where a civilian or someone not in the main team becomes a ranger. Okay, in Dawn Brothers, it's the previous Saru brother, but yeah, you get what I mean. I did also see like what I can assume is their version of a Gokai change or Avataro change. There's a scene like where Goju Leo, the blue one, is using Boonred's form, but it's not a full total change, like, or a near total change like Dawn Brothers. Like a full total change is like Gokaiger, like they are fully wearing their suits, fully. But Dawn Brothers, they still retain the belts. But this, like their Gozyuger armor still showing. They're still wearing the Gozyuger armor. So basically it's like Boonred is wearing Goju Leon's chest armor. So it's kind of like I'm trying to pull a similarity here. It's kind of like Kamen Rider Legends transformation. So like when he transforms to other riders, kind of like a part of his clothes still retain. Like he has the golden sash and the pauldron still on him, even in other riders' form. So yeah, it's like that. Speaking of suits, let's talk about their suits design. The Gozyuger suits design, shall we? I am liking what I'm seeing. I like the color combo that they're using, like very much. The gold really gives it a nice regal look. The helmets, but yeah, the helmets are what I like the most though. They got like that Gozyuger, like you know, the other ranger from Hurricaneger, the Gozyuger and the Die Ranger feel to it. More on the Die Ranger side, I think. But continuing on with the team composition, they choose a red, blue, yellow, green, and black as their main color for a team. And this is our first mainline Black Ranger in Sentai with Goju Unicorn. Technically, the first female black, like legit first female black, that's not a Gokai change or an Avatar change, was in King Oger with Iroki turning into Hachioger at the end, like the penultimate or the final episode. But she isn't part of the main team. This, with Goju Unicorn, is our first mainline main team female Black Ranger. Also, this is our first Red Wolf in Goju Wolf. Usually Wolf designs are not associated with the Red Ranger. Like we see blue, like Okami Blue, and sometimes in Six Rangers like Gal Silver and Hickey Violet, but never in red. And lastly, for now, this is also our first non-red T-Rex Ranger in Goju Tyranno. He's yellow. We never saw, in my memory, and I've watched a lot, we never saw a non-red T-Rex Ranger. We saw other dinosaur, but usually T-Rex is the Red Ranger. Moving on to the transformation item. Like I said before, the Gozyuger transforms using the Tega sword. And also the gimmick of the show, the gimmick item of the show, the Sentai rings. The changer will be voiced by Zenkai Gaon and Eren Yeager, if you know, Todoroki for My Hero Academia, to name a few, is Yuki Kaji. Yuki Kaji will be doing the voice of the Tega sword. The Tega swords are kind of like this gold-covered glove gauntlets they use on their right arms. It has a blue blade coming from the underside of it. It's always open. They kind of grip it like a gauntlet, like guitar. It's basically like guitar hidden blades situation. And they use their Sentai rings to put in the Tega sword, and they transform like it's kind of like a dance transformation, kind of like Zenkaiger or Kyoryuger. It's not as dancey as Kyoryuger. It's more simple like Zenkaiger, like just spin, but it has more claps. It's kind of like Zox's transformation, but less chaotic. Zox like dances around. They just like clap, clap, spin, and clap. It's pretty simple, but I am interested in how they'll utilize that transformation in combat. Like Boom Boomcher using the wheels on underneath to slide or block an attack or parry an attack to transform. That's always cool. I don't know how they're going to use the clap in battle though. The Tegaswords also serve as the mech for the team. And in a move that's rarely seen now, actually, each ranger has their own, not just mechs, but humanoid mechs. I get like everyone gets their own mechs in Sentai, but rarely does everyone gets a humanoid mech. Usually, the main ranger, the red or the leader gets the humanoid one, and the rest are like beasts or vehicles. But this is the first time in a while, in a quite long while, that everyone gets a humanoid mech. I don't know how. Like every Tegasword can transform into the base mech, but there is a slight oddity. The base mech of the base form of the Tegasword is used by Goju Wolf. It just uses the Tegasword by itself, which is what we see in the poster. That's the Tegasword Red. They call it the Tegasword Red. It only uses the Tegasword and the Sentai ring or the mech ring for the helmets. But the other team members, the other rangers, use their own individual weapons in conjunction with their Tegaswords to achieve their own mech forms. Like, I'll put the other mechs here with the Tegasword Red. So there's Tegasword Red, Tegasword Blue, Yellow, Green, and Black. Everyone except Goju Wolf has an individual weapon so far. Like the Goju Leon has the Leon Buster 50. I'll put the image here. Goju Tyranno has the Tyranno Hammer 50. Everyone has the 50 at the end. Goju Eagle has the Eagle Shooter 50. And the Goju Unicorn has the Unicorn Drill 50. And yes, like I said before, Goju Wolf does not have his own individual weapon so far. Personally, based on the mech designs for each of them, the ones I like the most so far looking are the Tegasword Yellow and the Tegasword Black, because they're the most interesting to me. Like Tegasword Yellow has Hammer Fist, like the hammer splits and turns into a fist, and Tegasword Black kind of looks the coolest. Like it's a lance and a shield. Tegasword Red looks the most basic. But moving on now, let's go on to the characters of the show, the meat, let's say, of the show. Starting with the Gozyugers themselves, the main team. I'm just gonna read from my notes, and yeah, this is what they revealed, like the description of each character so far. Goju Wolf is Tono Hoeru, played by Fuyuno Mio. The character is described as unsociable, has a bad mouth. This is just the translation I got. But is physically strong. He's also impulsive and quite unapproachable. But deep down, he's a good guy. He's a stray, like there's a quotation mark on stray, with no families and friends. He gets fired from every job he's at due to his violent behavior and attitude. So basically, he has to search for one job to another every time. He job hops every time. It is also said because of a certain incident, he lives his life trying to not have wishes. And he has a habit of howling whenever he gets in a good mood. Usually when he transforms. Yeah, the dude howls like a wolf, like a dog. Like ow! Like I'm gonna howl. I'm not gonna burst your eardrums. But yeah, he howls. He barks at the moon. But moving on, we got Goju Leon or Goju Leon. Rikuo Byakuya is played by Hideharu Suzuki. He's described as a charismatic genius, idol, and a people pleaser. a former super idol, if that's even a thing, super idol, who is extremely friendly to both men and women. So, yeah, that's your representation pie right there. But again, there's a continuing theme here. Due to a certain incident, he was kicked out of his idol agency and became an outcast. He's also described as quite a strategist and is skilled at manipulating people. He can be very overconfident at times, but makes an effort to back that shit up. I'm just gonna say, if there's any real world correlation to why someone gets kicked out of their agency, ooh, that's... I don't know what they're going to do. Why? Why did this guy get kicked out? There's like 3 major things that come to mind. I don't want to say it because that might be bad. But moving on to Goju Tirano, Bakugami Ryugi, played by Kanda Masakazu, who I think, based on the actors they were showing, he's actually the oldest of the bunch. Actor age-wise. I think he, damn it, he's my age. Damn, he looks good for his age. He's described as a Tega sword follower, like in heavy quotation marks. He's a self-proclaimed Tega sword follower who thinks that serving the Tega sword is the way of life and gives him the most happiness. His wish is for the Tega sword to be happy and will do everything that he can to get that wish granted. It said also he's very naive and moves very fast. Strangely, even though he's like the tank of the team, I think. But he's very strong. It's also said here, originally he came from a strict family, but then he ran away from home when he found out about the existence of the Tega sword, and became an outcast from his family because of his unorthodox beliefs. So, I'm just gonna say here, he might get a cult shit here. He's if this goes the Inoue route, the dad Inoue, Toshiki Inoue route, this guy might be a cult member. Kind of a cult member. Cultist. I don't know. That's what I'm getting so far. Then there's Goju Eagle, Takehara Kinjiro, played by Matsumoto Jin. He's described as a party-loving high school student. And so far, he's the one shown to be a student. I think he is the youngest of the team, who's very agile. He is also estranged from his family, but it says here that he really doesn't care. He's actually a very serious person, but wants to change his image, or that part about himself, so he spends the day trying to become more of a party person. Last but not least, because yeah, there's probably going to be a Sixth Ranger. Yeah. Goju Unicorn, Ichikawa Sumino, played by Imamori Maya, is known as a high-class detective in her neighborhood. She's cool, but also uses her charm as a weapon when necessary. She originally attended the police academy with aspirations to become a police officer, an officer of the law. But after a certain incident, she was ostracized. Like it says here, she was ostracized by her colleagues and became an outcast. So, here are my thoughts regarding on those descriptions for the team. The team seems like it'll be composed of outcasts. Obviously, based on that description. This feels very, very much like Dawn Brothers, which honestly I do not mind at all. Like Dawn Brothers was more like a misfits than outcasts. They got their shit kicked in life because they became Dawn Brothers. Like before, they were fine. Okay, so all of them seems to have very distinct and strong personalities, and I am very interested in how they will work as a team. And like Dawn Brothers, most of them, like the description so far shows like only 3 members had certain incident that turned them into different, like caused trauma for them. Yellow and green didn't say have any of that, so I'm interested. The rest of the 3 has had events in their life that made them into outcast. Also, here's the thing, like a bit of tangent. Sentai has been on a trend lately post Zenkaiger, where like the team members for each team member feels like their very own. Like they seem very individualistic. They don't mesh with each other. Like they need time to fit with each other. Like for example, like in Dawn Brothers, we have Don Momotaro, who's Don Momotaro. He's that guy. He's an asshole. And then we got Saru Brother, who's a pretentious dick. And then Oni's sister, who's, she's weird. Well, yeah, she's the audience's eyes into this chaos. And then there's Inu Brother, who's a fugitive, who the team didn't know who he is most of the time. Until like later. And then there's Kiji Brother. Yeah, him. He's cray. He's actually cray. The team didn't mesh at all. Those type of people shouldn't be a team, but they work in the end. It's very interesting how that dynamic works. Also, there's another added info in here that makes the potential dynamic in Gozyuger very interesting. That every one of them is striving to be number 1. This kind of gives a unique dynamic where they need to work together, but at the same time, they're competing with each other. It's not like Dawn Brothers, like we have to beat this, but one of them or all of us are kind of doing our own shit, but we still want to beat the monster. But this, based on this description, it feels like all of them wants to be the winner. They're competing. They're all competing. The press conference also reveals several supporting characters as well. Like, 1, a woman named Ijima Saori, played by Nakagoshi Noriko. I'm sorry for that if I butchered it in any way. Where, fun fact, she is the wife of Masaru Nagai, whom you may all know in the Toku world as Asami Tatsuya, or Time Red from Time Ranger, and Master Black from Ryu Soldier, which actually she also did a cameo into. She's playing the caretaker of a house where Goju Wolf is living, and is also the owner of the cafe name. Let me see. Half Century 50. Yeah, 50. Half Century Cafe. She lets Goju Red stay in her house, even though he's late with the rent most of the time. And later on, she entrusts the cafe to Goju Tirano. And then there's Kwon, played by Karma. It doesn't specifically say, it doesn't detailedly explains who he is, but he's just a mysterious young president of an AI company, and he holds a key role in the story. And so far, he is a mystery whether he is a friend or foe to the team. And then we get our villains. Our villain faction for this show is the No One World Brydens. That's the team, the villain's name. Like the villain team's name is No One World Bryden, or Bridal. And the theme of the villain so far is, I think it's either weddings or wedding planner or aspects of a wedding. We got revealed a few characters so far. First off, we got Fire Candle, played by Sanbogi Daisuke. He is said to be the special attack commander of the Brydens. He and Goju Wolf are on bad terms, so what I'm getting from this, he's probably the rival he's going to be the rival for Goju Wolf. That's what I'm getting. He cares for his friends and is well liked by the other Brydens, but sometimes he can be very impulsive. That's the description. And then there is Bouquet, played by Marupi, who you may recognize recently as Dahlia from the Yodona special, I think the final one, the final Yodona special. She's one of the generals and the technical captain of the team, of the villains faction. Is known as the Bouquet of Compassion. Said to be quite humble, polite, and very sensitive to people's feelings. And yeah, that's pretty short. And then there's Mr. Shining Knife and Mrs. Sweetcake. It's full monster suit and will be voiced by Tomokazu Sugita, whom you may know as the voice of Oradin, King Oradin, or Machine Oradin from Kira Major. But mostly you may know him as Joseph Joestar. And Mrs. Sweetcake will be voiced by Rina Ueda. She's the voice of Mallow in Pokemon Sun and Moon. And in the Toku anime universe, and Toku anime world, you may know her as the voice of Shinjo Akane from SSSS Gridman. They are the executive and chief of staff of the Brydens. They're essentially a couple. They're a couple. They're in a relationship, but their love went too far, or too hard, I guess, resulting them essentially, they fused. They snooze so hard they fuse. They melt together into one body. When their love reaches their peak, I don't know how to refer to that peak. They grow giant. The last few info that we get is from the press con is about the opening and the ED for the show, and that there will be an episode 0 before the show properly airs. But let's start with the music. The music opening of this show will be titled Winner Gozyuger. Like Winner Gozyuger, like a announcement by the Wieners, or the Winners. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the band's name. It is also said that it's a dance OP. I don't know how much of a dance it will be. Will it be like Zenkaiger or Dawn Brothers type opening? The Winners, I remember the Winners because they did the music for Digimon Ghost Game. So I like their music, but I'm interested in what they'll do here. The ending song will be titled, I'm sorry if I'm going to butcher this, BBB Leaving by Kaneko Miyu. I don't know what music she's done before this. Finally, then there'll be an episode 0, episode 0, that will air on February 2nd, on February 2nd. On the TTFC Toei Tokusatsu fan club channel for YouTube. And yes, that's all the press con revealed. All the info so far from press con. Gozyuger will debut on February 16th, 2025. And from this video's recording, that's in 2 weeks. The time of this recording video, it will be like in 2 weeks. Boom Gozyuger will end their run with a total of 48 episodes. They have had a great run. It's been great. Boom Gozyuger's been great. Reiwa has been on a streak for Sentai. Streak of greatness. While I'm cautiously optimistic as always, like, yeah. Here's hoping. I'm raising a glass, a drink, that Gozyuger will continue that streak. Let's go for a 6. Let's go for a 6, baby. If you are counting Kira Major, I mean. Let's continue the trend of Super Sentai, superhero time greatness. Let's continue that, people. Because Gav has been going extremely great. Kamen Rider Gav has been doing chef's kiss. It's on this new arc, and it's amazing. Boom Gozyuger can't stop and won't stop. Can't stop the boom boom, won't stop the boom boom. Well, until Michael Jackson stopped it. Showed up and stopped it. Michael Jackson stopped the boom boom. Which I will get to in my review later. When it's over. Fingers crossed, everyone, that Gozyuger will continue that streak. And be one hell of an experience. Guess that's it for my, for the video. Sorry for the long delay. Like, there's been a lot going on, and 2025 has been a pretty rough start. But we roll with the punches. We roll with the punches, people. And hope for the best. And strive for the best. But yeah. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned for my next video. Follow me on all things. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. Every little thing helps. Stay tuned. See you next time. I'm Padera Asterisk, and I'm signing off. Bye.